I mean, you got all three of them wrong. They get the call, they get the meeting, they get the money. It's not 2 + 2, it's 0 for 3. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. And you told Mr. Castor that the president never told you that the announcement had to happen to get anything. In fact, he didn't just not tell you that, he explicitly said the opposite. The gentleman from Texas just read it. You said to the President of the United States, what do you want from Ukraine? The President, I want nothing. I want no quid pro quo. I want Zelensky to do the right thing. I want him to do what he ran on. What did he run on, Ambassador Sondland?
Transparency.
And dealing with corruption, right?
That's right.
Going on in terms of testimony with Ambassador Sondland, and I just noticed one thing, and I would say that means it's all over. What do you want from Ukraine? He asks me, screaming. What do you want from Ukraine? I keep hearing all these different ideas and theories. This is Ambassador Sondland speaking to me. Just happened. To which I turned off the television. What do you want from Ukraine? I keep hearing all these different ideas and theories. What do you want? What do you want? It was a very short and abrupt conversation that he had with me. They said he was not in a good mood. I'm always in a good mood. I don't know what that is. He just said, now he's talking about what my response. So he's going, what do you want? What do you want? I hear all these theories. What do you want, right? And now, here's my response that he gave, just gave. Ready? You have the cameras rolling? I want nothing. That's what I want from Ukraine. That's what I said. I want nothing. I said it twice. So he goes, he asked me the question, what do you want? I keep hearing all these things. What do you want? He finally gets me. I don't know him very well. I have not spoken to him much. This is not a man I know well. Seems like a nice guy, though. But I don't know him well. He was with other candidates. He actually supported other candidates. Not me. Came in late. But here's my response. Now, if you weren't fake news, you'd cover it properly. I say to the ambassador in response, I want nothing. I want nothing. I want no quid pro quo. Tell Zelensky, President Zelensky, to do the right thing. So here's my answer. I want nothing. I want nothing. I want no quid pro quo. Tell Zelensky to do the right thing. Then he says, this is the final word from the President of the United States. I want nothing. Thank you, folks. Have a good time. I'm going to Texas.
On this episode of Just Informed Talk, we're going to take a look at today's latest new Q post talking about everything happening on Capitol Hill with this whole push to impeach President Trump by his alleged quid pro quo with Ukraine, where you have the ambassador coming forward today and literally saying there was no quid pro quo, and the president directly told him he did not want quid pro quo. So we're going to take a look at that and how this all ties back to us exposing things like the Clinton Foundation and Jeffrey Epstein, and why that is pushing the Democrats and the deep state to go as hard as they can against President Trump. So you guys are going to stick around and check out this and a whole lot more. Hi, my name is Craig, and welcome to another episode of Just Informed Talk. I always thank everybody who's hit that subscribe button, but if you haven't done it, now is a great time to do it. Just come here, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications so you get notified when these videos get posted. It helps channel out big time. Yes, we do have new Q posts we're going to go over. We're going to pick up from where we left off at Q post 3604, and we're going to go right into the latest Q post. But before we get into that, plus some theories about how all of this is connected back to what President Trump's been trying to expose since the election with Hillary Clinton, CrowdStrike, and the DNC. We're going to talk about all of that. But first, I want to remind everybody to come back here, watch these videos, share them on your social media. There is an algorithmic suppression. I just did an interview with the Google whistleblower about that very type of suppression, and we talked about other things too, including the AI Manhattan Project. So some interesting stuff. You want to check that out. There's a lot of great information in all of these videos. If you want to go back, watch them, and then share them. Hit the share button on this video and those videos. And if you're scratching your head going, what is QAnon the Great Awakening? And you have no idea what's going on here, watch this video. What is QAnon the Great Awakening? Share it on your social media. Get the word out that way. That's how we beat these censors who are trying to suppress this information and to suppress dialogue and free speech in our society. That's what this ultimately comes down to, right? Because we're expressing opinions and asking questions that may not be a part of the mainstream. And that's really one of the biggest problems that we're going up against. So before we get into the latest Q posts, I got to remind everybody, this video is brought to you in part by redpillliving.com/justinformed. Use the coupon code JUSTINFORMED to get 10% off your order. Links will be in the description. Come check out the liposomal vitamins, Carbon 60, chelation cream, and other great products. You know, I use them. My family uses them. I really encourage you guys to use the coupon code JUSTINFORMED and go to redpillliving.com/justinformed. And they already have some great sales going on. You know, you got Black Friday coming up, and they're getting ahead of that. You can get an extra 10% off on top of that. So definitely go check it out. And thank you so much for checking it out, using the link in the description, and use the coupon code JUSTINFORMED to get 10% off. So let's get into the latest Q posts here. If you guys will remember, where we left off was Q post 3604, and this was referencing an older Q post from February 11th, right? Now, let's go back and get some more context on what that was referencing. That'll help us moving forward into these newer Q posts. But first, it was this post right here, 2693, which starts with this tweet from Adam Schiff, which says, and this is from February of 2019, saying, step 1, hype an invented threat of an invasion of terrorists, murderers, and rapists. Step 2, send troops to border to address the imaginary threat. Step 3, justify the wall as necessary to protect troops sent to meet the non-existent threat. Step 4, executive time. So obviously he was, Adam Schiff there, trivializing what President Trump was trying to do with his strategy of protecting us via building a wall on the southern border and enforcing the laws which state that people cannot enter our country illegally, right? So that's what this is, but it's referencing this, and then Q responds saying, let's actually use facts. Step 1, hype an invented threat of POTUS working with the Russians, disinformation campaign. Step 2, send FBI, DOJ, Congress, Senate, clowns, NSA, Intel, Five Eyes, etc. to address and investigate the imaginary threat. Step 3, justify the special counsel, quote unquote, and millions of taxpayer dollars spent as necessary to protect the public and our election process against an imaginary made-up non-existent threat, which really is designed to protect the illegal activities of many elected officials. Oh, wow. Step 4, open new, fake, and false investigations as chairman of the House Intel Committee to retain disinformation campaign designed to keep liberal Democrat Americans on board to regain power and prevent prosecution. Executive time. Q. So this is the part that Q referenced to us, and it was obviously explaining how the next step after the special counsel failed was to just continue to make up new fake and false investigations to go after President Trump with, which is what we're seeing with the Ukraine hoax, right? Literally, the ambassador said he got on the phone with the president, who told him directly, I don't want quid pro quo. And he doesn't want to force Ukraine to do anything. Just tell them to do the right thing. Oh, it's disgusting. You know, I'm disgusted when I hear these liars get up on Capitol Hill and just make these complete bold-faced lies. So Q says, referring to, I guess, the first post we're going to pick up on here, that was kind of just wanted to go back to redress that. And it comes into play here where Q says there is no step 5. And just to reference that before we get into this post, what he's referencing here is that there's only 4 steps here. So there is no step 5. They don't have anything after this, is what Q is saying, I think. They're out of ideas. And they're out of time. Now, this is a Twitter post from this guy, Andrew Kerr, who says the Clinton Foundation's lost $49.6 million since 2016. Well, I wonder how the Clinton Foundation just suddenly stopped getting any money and donations at all, to the tune of tens of millions of dollars since she lost the election. Well, do you perhaps think that foundation was an organization that was made primarily to collect donations in exchange for favors as she was the governor or as she was the president or whatever position she was in? I wonder if that could be what was happening there. And Q's pointing to that, I believe, because we have to remember that pay for play only works when you hold a position of power, and it's only a matter of time before we expose the Clinton Foundation. And we're going to get into that right here with this. Basically, it was a thread put together by this Cat Namus person on Twitter. And let me just say, these are some interesting observations, and I'm going to leave this up to you to decide what's real and what's not here, but we're going to look at it together. I can tell you that the information here has been covered extensively on this channel, and we're going to cover some of the highlighted points here. But they asked the question, is CrowdStrike covering up for Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking operation that was possibly being run through the Clinton Foundation, right? And that had something to do with why Hillary was deleting the 33,000 emails. And the only way to stop their own prosecution is to impeach President Trump. Is this possible? It talks about Sergey Brin, the owner of Google, visited Jeffrey Epstein after his child sex trafficking conviction in 2011 at Long Beach, California. The funder of CrowdStrike was in bed both with child sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein along with Bezos, Elon Musk, and Bill Gates. Now, there is actual proof that, as you can see here, Google actually gave a $100 million investment to CrowdStrike. Oh, well, now stuff's starting to make sense. It says, financed by Epstein friend Sergey Brin and the Rockefellers hired ex-FBI Sean Henry, CrowdStrike provided cover to the examination of the DNC servers, which would have exposed their entire Epstein-China Clinton Foundation trafficking ring. Well, that's interesting. It says, real Donald Trump was asked to run for president. Trump was an informant against the mob in the 80s who took Gotti down in 1991. Bob Mueller, who was among those working with Mueller, Rosenstein, and Giuliani, who was the U.S. AG overseeing it all, Bill Barr. It's all connected. Vault 7, Adam Schiff, China, Long Beach Port, Ukraine. We're talking about huge criminal enterprise here and a massive trafficking ring from guns, child sex slaves, state secrets, and drugs, all run out of the Clinton Foundation with big kickbacks to our politicians. Hypothetically, I mean, this is being, in my opinion, presented as a theory. Asking the question, is that possible? Long Beach Port's ownership by China was allowed by Bill Clinton and placed under seal by Obama, except POTUS reversed it when he became president and didn't even make the corrupt MSM, didn't even get on any of the mainstream media news outlets. Ever since H.W. Clinton and China's ascension to the highest levels while maintaining their ethno-nationalist fascist regime is mind-blowing, clearly bad actors were helping them out. Full-blown treasonous criminals. China were using Long Beach Port to traffic fentanyl and possibly kids. ABC, they stopped the Virginia Griff interview. Why? Because they were working and had connections directly with people that had direct connections with Epstein. So, and then it just goes on to talk about the way that China's richest man bought up most of Hollywood and how that was allowed to happen, the connection between the Disney cruise line and Epstein Island, the connection between the former Disney VP who had some very, very heinous charges against him as far as hurting children, crime against children. And they talk about the Epstein and Nexium cases, which were both central to what Durham's investigating with regard to how this whole collusion hoax got started, right? Because remember, the timing of all this matters, and we'll get into that in a second, but going on, it talks about Ukraine is a central place where all of our politicians had their kids working and getting these huge salaries. Is it all starting to make sense now? I think that there's a lot more of this, and then they talk about the possibility of the connection to the shutting down of the Israeli embassies, because when these charges start to drop, a lot of our senators who may be involved with this stuff possibly hold dual citizenship and could claim asylum in Israel, and Israel didn't want to have to deal with that. Just throwing it out there for you guys. Remember how cozy Obama was with these tech guys, and there was just something wrong about that whole thing. So I'll leave this thread here for you guys if you want to read through it. There's a lot of information in there. I'm not saying that any of this is ironclad. I'm saying for you to look at it and use your own judgment. it's a part of a theory that's being drawn out here. I don't think there's any direct, as far as I'm concerned, allegations that can be made right now, except the fact that a lot of these facts do co-align in a very suspicious way, and you have to understand that and take it with a grain of salt. But, that could be why possibly they're going after President Trump so much, when you start to really tie all this stuff together and start to think about it analytically. Now, next is the next Q post here, 3607, where it talks about this article right here, which shows the MPs have demanded that Zelensky and Trump investigate suspicion of U.S.-Ukraine corruption involving $7.4 billion. Ukrainian members of parliament have demanded the presidents of Ukraine and the United States, President Zelensky and President Trump, investigate suspicions of the legalization of $7.4 billion by the family of ex-President Viktor Yanukovych through the American investment fund Franklin Templeton Investments, which they said had ties to the U.S. Democratic Party. At a press conference at the Interfax Ukraine Agency on Wednesday, Member of Parliament Andrei Durkak announced that deputies have received new materials from investigative journalists about international corruption and the participation of Ukrainian officials in it. Last week, November 14th, the Prosecutor General's office, unnoticed by the media, announced a new suspicion to the notorious owner of Burisma, ex-ecology minister Zolklevsky. I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names. Sorry. According to the suspicion, the Yanukovych family is suspected in particular with legalizing laundering of criminally obtained income through Franklin Templeton Investments, an investment fund carrying out purchases of external government loan bonds totaling $7.4 billion. And boom goes the dynamite. This is going to be huge. And this is why the mainstream media is freaking out, because we are continuing to expose their complicity in covering up the corruption that is being exposed by President Trump. And they're actually actively trying to undermine the president and help push this impeachment coup. So it's really disgusting where we've come to as a society. And, you guys have to look at all these facts and make your own decisions. I can't tell you what to think. I can only, relay this information and try to give you as objective an opinion as I can, whilst I am only human. I am an American citizen who has, deep feelings about my country and my rights to have freedom of speech and freedom of religion, and our rights to have those things, I should say. So this is really a conversation that needs to be had more broadly, and it seems that the mainstream media is really covering it up. Q says, what happens when the public discovers the truth, magnitude regarding Democrat Party corruption? What happens when the public discovers the truth regarding fake news, coordination with Democrat Party to conceal, shelter, protect those criminally responsible? Define projection, the Great Awakening, Sheep No More, Where We Go One, We Go All, Q. Well, that kind of sums up everything I guess I was going at, is exactly what Q said, but Q obviously wrapped it up in a neat bow much better than I could. So that explains exactly what we're exposing here, and that's why there's such a hard push against us in what we are doing. Now, the next one here is this tweet, which actually says Breaking News Live just got their account suspended, and I guess this is from today, where they were breaking this story that we just looked at, and Twitter went and suspended their account. Oh, wow. Well, let's see what Q says. Control of the narrative equals control of public opinion. Control of public opinion equals power. How do you control the narrative? Information warfare, Q. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we're up against right now. It is a control of the narrative. It is information warfare at its finest. And the real problem here is that these companies, these mega rich tech companies and these media companies who have more dollars than sense, obviously, have decided that they are going to try to control this. They're going to try to suppress the information. They're going to try to control the narrative, and they're going to try to continue to cover up because they have no other choice. Like Q says, what happens when the public finds out, how the fake news was coordinating to cover up for these crimes with these people? right? There has to be some. My plea is like to the people working in news organizations. If you happen to be watching this and you're working at, ABC, NBC, CNN, who knows? There may be somebody out there watching. My question to you is, what do you think the public's going to think when it all comes out that all you've done for the last 3 years is try to undermine our country and push us into a civil war and help push a coup against a sitting president? I mean, do you really think that the history is going to look kindly on you? And do you really think that, by helping or that you're going to win this battle? Because I don't think you understand that everything is documented. The evidence is there. The investigations have been underway for years. They're going to come out and expose this. Indictments will come. They may not come today. They may not come tomorrow, but they will come. And when they do, it's going to show that everything that you've done, or the people, the company you keep, they've done, have helped to try to cover up one of the biggest stories of our generation. And not only the biggest story, but one of the biggest scandals and corruption that you have ever seen globally. And I wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of that one. That's all I have to say. And, that definitely rings true, I think, for everyone here watching. So you guys let me know what you think down in the comments. There's only so much we can do with these feckless, corrupt criminals who are trying to swindle the American public every single day, day in, day out. All we can do is have our truths that we know, and we present them in a way that's reasonable, and that's it. Let the ideas have at it, not any suppression. Let's beat bad ideas with better ideas, but they don't want that. They want to try to suppress our content. So that's pretty much where we're going to leave it. A few more things before we go. I want to say thank you all for coming here and checking this out. Remember to watch these videos, share them, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts, theories, and insights below. I want to hear what you guys have to say about all the stuff that we covered here. Don't forget to be brave. Download the Brave browser. Well, what is the Brave browser, you ask? Well, if you guys use Google Chrome or Internet Explorer or Mozilla Firefox, that's your internet browser. This is a better internet browser. All you have to do is use the link in the description to download it, install it, and run it just like you would any other internet browser. And it will block ads. It'll make your internet experience that much better. It'll actually help you by giving you things like a VPN and a Tor browser if you want to get into all that. But if not, it basically helps you just by blocking ads and making the internet that much easier to use. So go use the link in the description, download the Brave browser, install it, and that helps the channel out because they'll make a donation to the channel if you use this link to download the Brave browser. And I think it's a win-win because it's a great product and I use it and love it. So I think you guys should try it out too. With that, come over here and find me over on Twitter at JUSTINFORMED. We can have a conversation. And you guys can get all my funny, hilarious, thought-provoking tweets, and we can have a place to talk outside the channel. Also, don't forget to check out JustinFormedNews.com, official website for Just Informed Talk. You get links to the Q stuff, different news sites, breaking news, and of course the latest videos from the channel here. That's JustinFormedNews.com. And also a couple of the ways you can help out are both financial. Come find me over here on Patreon, Patreon.com. It's a crowdfunding website. It's a monthly donation. You set it and forget it. Now you're helping create content on this channel, especially since, YouTube's, demonetizing, not putting any commercials or anything ads on this, which is fine because you guys have stepped up and made it so that we can continue to counter the fake news, lies, and keep this channel alive and going. So thank you for your support. Again, it's a monthly donation. Just set it and forget it. No, you're helping create content here. And also I have a GoFundMe set up if you want to make a one-time or anonymous donation. Links to both will be in the description. So, thank you so much for your help and support. Now, before we go, we do a segment at the end of each one of these episodes called God's Grace is Greater, where we talk about God's grace and how it is truly greater. And today I want to share these words with you that I think are very important, and they kind of speak to what we're all up against here in this battle against evil. And it's going to be out of the book of 1 Corinthians. We're going to talk about this verse. It's chapter 1, verse 26 through 31, and it talks about boasting in the Lord. It says, "Brothers and sisters, consider your calling. Not many are wise from a human perspective, not many powerful, not many of noble birth. Instead, God has chosen the world's foolish things to shame the wise, and God has chosen the world's weak things to shame the strong. God has chosen the world's insignificant and despised things, the things viewed as nothing, so he might bring to nothing the things that are viewed as something, so that no one can boast in his presence. But from him you are in Christ Jesus, who for us became wisdom from God, as well as righteousness, sanctification, and redemption. in order that, as it is written, the one who boasts must boast in the Lord. And when we face such great evil and such great adversity, it seems insurmountable and it seems that there is no way to overcome it. But that's when we have to put our faith that much stronger into the Lord and remember that of all the things in this world, He will bring the weak to shame the strong. He will bring the foolish to shame the wise. God will do things to show that He is in control. And I think that's what we're seeing in these times where, there were so many people who thought they were the wise who now have become the foolish because we've peeled back the veil and seen what's behind it. There is so much evil in the world that we have to live through Christ, through His great image and what He's given us in His example. And that's what I'm calling on all of us to do, is to live in righteousness and to live for God. And remember that if we boast at all, we must boast in God above all else, because that's truly what's the most important part of our eternal salvation and understanding our lives here for one another and overcoming such great evil. And that's where I'm going to go ahead and leave it. I want to say thank you guys for watching this episode. Come here and hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications and hit it, punch it, tap it, headbutt it, elbow, whatever. Hit the like button if you guys like this content and want to see me make more. But that's going to be it for me. Thanks for watching this episode of Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.